We rank the women's roster in AEW with a tier list next on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. Hello and welcome to the Squared Circle Psychobabble. My name is Michael Valenti. This is Ralph Valenti. For news, reviews, and unbiased conversations in pro wrestling, subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. So we did the men's roster, men's singles roster. And if you haven't seen that yet, the eye above my head, you can click on that first. And today we're doing the women's roster. So we're doing the tier list. In case you missed the first episode, it's Elite for the best of the best. Dynamite, I like them. I want to see them every week. Okay. Dark, I need to see more before I could truly judge. And then Undesirable, I've seen enough, get rid of them. So the women's roster is a little harder to do because their criteria for this is must have 3 total matches in AEW, and they must be recognized on the AEW website to be a part of the roster for us to judge this. The women's roster is much smaller than we did with the men's.
Yep.
But let's start it off with the AEW Women's Champion, Riho. Riho, I mean, she's the AEW Women's Champion. They book her very strong. I like her. I like her matches. I don't know if I put her at the elite level because as far as a character, the only thing I've gotten out of her was she's 98 pounds.
Yeah.
And her finisher is a roll-up.
Yep.
So I would put her at Dynamite.
And not only that, but I mean, to really have the underdog storyline work, you have to be there to build week after week. Like there has to be a menacing heel to complement that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have that heel kind of dominate them for a few weeks, even if it's not in a match, but just jump them, do these little angles, whatever you have to do to show that this is the weaker of the individuals. And she hasn't really been there for about a month.
Right.
You know, so I know that's not her fault. She's got other dates she's committed to, which is fine, whatever. But I think right now she's Dynamite. You know,
Yeah.
I think that most people that you talk to are going to say that the women's division, for whatever reason, is probably the weakest of the divisions in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've seen from her, has been good, but nothing excellent.
Right.
Dynamite for me.
All right. Yeah. Let's move on to Allie, a.k.a. the Bunny. As the Bunny, I'd say Dynamite. As Allie, I say Dark because I didn't see enough of her.
Mm-hmm.
But I, she continues to be the Bunny. We still need to see her in a match as the Bunny. So I'll go with okay for now with Allie and the Bunny.
I think that's fair. I definitely want to see more from her with this new persona. See what they do with it. See how far they push this trio. But yeah, I mean, she didn't really do much before this. It seems like they're going to be, fairly pushed well going forward. So, okay.
Yeah. So okay for her. Bea Priestley up next. Probably technically the best wrestler that the women have, but she hasn't really been booked strong in AEW. So I don't know.
Have any of them aside from Riho? I mean,
true. Good point. I think Bea Priestley right now goes to okay.
Yeah. I agree.
I think she really had the first storyline with the women's division with her and Britt Baker, but their payoff being on the buy-in to All Out really put a damper to that whole thing. And the fact that she put Britt Baker over in that match, right? She won that match, right? Yep. So, yeah, okay for Bea Priestley. Next up, Big Swole, who, she just recently made her Dynamite debut against Emi Sakura. From what I saw, I do like, but I need to see more from Big Swole. So I'm going to put her in Dark.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
So, yeah. So Big Swole's going to go to Dark. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think she has a look. She's got good in-ring possibility, but I need to see more before I put her at least Dynamite or even elite level. Next up, the face of the women's division, Dr. Britt Baker. She's a dentist, right?
I didn't know that.
No. And she's Adam Cole's girlfriend.
Would never guess.
And she get pushed to the moon, except nothing's really clicking with Britt Baker. Like, her matches have just not gotten to that level, especially with, a lot of people talking about her match with Kris Statlander this week, where they're saying, you know what? She just doesn't have the intensity in the ring. Like, she doesn't have that sense of urgency in the ring. I think I like the dentist gimmick, but they really need to stop with this whole, oh, she's a dentist. She's a dentist. She does this. Like, it really shows it's not exactly Isaac Yankem DDS, but it's to a point where people are starting to question, is Britt Baker just doing this as a side gig? And dentistry is really her passion?
Well,
like,
what does dentistry have to do? Like, how does that add to her character, her persona in the professional wrestling world? Like, how does that translate or correlate?
Well,
like,
her finisher is that lockjaw.
Right, but I'm saying, like, okay, if you want to take like an MMA guy, they can use their physical abilities and everything, their training to their have that carry over into professional wrestling and have that matter and translate that into their matches.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a bodybuilder, you could talk about their size because that can translate to how they're able to
Right.
Like, how does being a dentist give you any type of advantage in professional wrestling? I don't see it. So why talk about it as much as they do? I don't get it.
You know the Mighty Ducks, D2 the Mighty Ducks, right?
Correct.
All right. Yeah. So the coach of the team Iceland was Wolf the Dentist Stanson. And he got the nickname because he would habitually punch people's teeth out. That was like the story behind him.
Yep.
If they kind of did something like that, I'm not saying, punch out people's teeth, but do something to that level where she could, she knows how the mouth works and use it to her advantage. Incorporate that more into her gimmick, and I think you could apply it to wrestling.
Yeah.
It's just they just are just using the fact that she's a dentist as a crutch to get her over.
Right.
And it's not working.
No, I don't see why it would.
So I can't put her anywhere higher than okay.
I agree.
So she's okay right now. Next up, Emi Sakura. I like Emi Sakura, being a Queen fan. I like the Freddie Mercury thing. I like that she does incorporate it into her moves. I like how she does the AO while she's doing submissions. Only problem is when you don't have a mic, they can't hear you to respond. The only thing I don't like about her is she comes off as a babyface, but in her matches, she acts as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very confusing to someone. So I probably wouldn't put her at Dynamite. I'd probably put her at okay. I can't put her higher than Dynamite right now.
Yeah. I probably agree with you on that.
Yeah. So okay for her. Hikaru Shida, I think, is the best women's wrestler they got right now. I'm going to put her at elite.
Yeah.
We got to put
if you want to go strictly based on performance and, what they've been able to deliver in the ring, I think most people, if you talked about this a year ago, would have said Britt Baker was going to be a shoo-in for this. But she's probably been the most consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably agree with that.
Yeah, Hikaru Shida. Next up, Kris Statlander. They really pushed her as soon as she got signed. And now she's the number one contender for the AEW Women's Championship. She's got a unique character. It's very intriguing. Some people like it, some people don't, which is fine. It starts a conversation. What I've seen in the ring has been very good. I loved how she was able to take the lockjaw and just eventually turn it into her finishing move, the Big Bang Theory. I like her. Mm-hmm. If anybody other than Shida deserves to be in the elite status, it's her. I'm going to put her at elite right now. I don't know. It might seem a little too early to do that, but with this women's division, there really isn't anyone to really put at the elite level.
Right. That's part of the problem.
Shida and Statlander really are the only two. They really should be the AEW. One of them should be the AEW Women's Champion. Mm-hmm. So,
I'll agree with you. Just based on the fact that I think that, like I said, this is probably the weakest division of all the between the men's, the tag team, whatever, and the booking really hasn't been great. It's been kind of lackluster, and also the individuals and the performers that were supposed to be performing at the elite level haven't necessarily performed at that level. So I think it's fair to put her there based on the fact that, they're actually going to try to do something with her. So elite's fine for that.
Yeah. Leva Bates, the other librarian. If anything, she hasn't really done anything as far as an in-ring wrestling. I think she doesn't really connect with the crowd like Peter Avalon does with the librarian. They need a jobber, so she does fit that role. However, I think they could do better. I think she's undesirable.
Okay. I was going to say okay only because they do need, performers that are lower down on the tier to take losses to the people that are higher up on the card. But yeah, I mean, she doesn't get a react. As the librarian, I would certainly say undesirable. So yeah, I mean, I'd probably agree with that.
Yeah. So undesirable, probably the only one that we're going to have here. Next up, Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose has the potential to be elite as well. The problem is they booked her backwards.
Yep.
They really booked her backwards. She started off 0-3 before she got on AEW Dynamite. She loses the first AEW Women's Championship match in her hometown to a 98-pound person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you going to build credibility with her? But since then, they've done everything to make her look like a legit monster in this division, a real threat. So for now, I can't put her at elite. And I can't put her at Dynamite because this isn't just for what they did after the first episode. This is collectively what they've done with her in AEW. So I'm going to put her at okay with the potential to be even more.
I agree.
Yep. And last but not least is Shanna. Shanna, I haven't seen too much of her, so I'm going to go with dark.
Agree. Yeah, dark. Need to see more. I mean, I really just want to see all of these individuals booked more consistently, actually see them build more storylines. I mean, I think they're trying to do that. And the individuals they're trying to do that with is none of the people we've talked about. That'd be Brandy and Awesome Kong.
And that's funny because Brandy has only had one match.
Yep.
And Awesome Kong has had multiple matches, but she's not on the AEW roster on the website. So that's why we did not do Awesome Kong.
Yep.
If we were to do Awesome Kong, maybe she'd probably be at least Dynamite level, but I don't know. So we did the men already. You could click the thumbnail to watch that video. Also click the logo to subscribe and hit that bell for notification. We'll see you on the next episode of the Squared Circle Psychobabble.